Hey everyone.
Hey, hi all.
Hello,
So,
hello, hello.
welcome to the EthOS development update. Yeah, I'm looking to comments. Hi, mom again.
I walk about mom again.
I walk about mom again. Oh, thank you.
Oh, sweet.
So,
Okay.
ah, ah, are you ready, Vaza?
Yes, lock and loaded.
Okay.
Let's move out.
So let's start with the development update presentation. Oh yeah. So I read. Also, we read everywhere on the internet, and we figured it out. Nobody, and I mean nobody, get the hint into this picture we published last week. Uh, as we can see, we have some characters that are looking to find something. And there is this atmosphere, which is so fantasy. There is Ethereum on top of the pyramid. I don't know if you have looked into the pyramid thing, but most important, nobody got this. Zooming here, zooming a little bit more,
Do you
and
recognize
yeah,
it?
and yeah, that's OS. Because yeah, OS is here.
Yeah.
OS is here, and I know some of you already found it. And yeah, it's here. It's totally here. This is the NFT card. So when you look at it on OpenSea, and OS is the first item feature. That's one of the most exciting things about EthOS, about OS. Yeah, some of you found this unit before, and it's a very interesting story because
Yes.
we were testing the switch, and we said, okay, how can we test the switch and be sure that people don't try to use this switch? Okay, let's call the token Uni-before because it's the actual name of a token that can be seen as a scam, and so people don't try to
Exactly.
to switch it or to buy it because it's the classic perfect name for a scam token. And but
Absolutely.
at some point we figured it out. You actually try to switch it. And I think
Exactly. And we also tried to change the metadata of the item, changing the name with not OS instead of Uni before. but EtherScan didn't recognize the change. So you can see it only if you query directly the contract through the EtherScan contract page.
Yeah, because something that is very interesting about item v2 is the dynamic metadata, but EtherScan is not ready for this because we did this change. It was
quite
funny.
Frustrating.
Yeah, centralized things. Ah.
Exactly.
So OS is the first item v2. Okay, so why this is so important and why this is so cool. Let's start talking a little bit about item v1 for most of the people that don't follow the project since last year. So items are the coolest object on top of Ethereum because basically they are interoperable. So they can act both as ERC20 and ERC1155. And so you can use it everywhere. And you can use with all of the capabilities that the new standards like 1155 has, like batch functions, metadata, and more. And they are extendable object because when one of the most cool things that also will be kind of like the huge selling point of EthOS in the future is that they are cloned by factories. And this is the security layer for all of the things about EthOS. So when you build an item or when you are a user and want to buy an item or use an item, you are totally secure about the base layer of security from this transfers function and all of these things because they are cloned by the item factory. But for people who are using or creating items, they can extend the logic for every application that is possible build, like anything on Ethereum. And so that's why item is so cool. I mean, I think if most of the dogs during the dogs bubble were built on top of item, a lot of people didn't lose their money. So, and by the way, let's go for and they are upgradable objects because there are tons of things you can change and you can update if you want, only if you want, ruling them by a DAO or an on-chain organization, a wallet, or even an external contract that make change to the item for minting, metadata, and more functions. So that was what was item v1. And it's totally cool because for the first time, we have this super standard that is built for the DeFi and the Ethereum ecosystem that we have today. And so how can item v2 be more fantastic than this? What is the new things we built and why we call it v2? The amazing items v2. So item v2 have all of the capabilities that we have in items v1, but with two things that are really a game changer into the space. The first one, and the coolest one, is the dynamic on-chain metadata, which is pretty complex to understand. But the metadata can be built by smart contracts. And it's totally dynamic. So you can build smart contracts that can be craftable and building another items, but not with off-chain things, but directly with the metadata of this item. And also, you can upgrade, for example, the token name, like what we did with Uni before, but EtherScan don't track this. And I think for this part, we will see some really use case of this to understand how big is these things. And also, another important things about the amazing items v2 is that you can batch all of the items. So you can do batch transfer for every existing items and not only from
collection.
Yeah, for single collection. So from collection to collections. Because when we start items v1, the standard of this kind of token was to just build your own collection and do batch swap inside of your collection. But once we saw items working, we said, this is not, at this point, this don't make any kind of sense. So why we can't batch everything? And yeah, that was a huge challenge, by the way. And so let's start about the dynamic metadata thing. So the dynamic metadata, it's pretty cool because imagine you have this smart contract about crafting. And so you can say, okay, we have in a game, we have this bronze sword. And you can craft this bronze sword on-chain and receiving the fire sword, but changing the sword metadata, not without burn and receive another token. And you can build a lot of things in gaming with these things. And also, one of the, I think, coolest part of this is that the metadata of an object is made by a metadata maker. So a smart contract that have all of the dynamics that create the metadata for an object. And so what does this mean for the industry? And for example, in this example, for the gaming industry. So one of the big thing in the next years will be games with interoperable object. And so you can have a sword that you use into a game, and people will want to use this sword into another game. But there are tons of issues there. Because, for example, if metadata are not on chain and are not renderable, they are an image. So how can you use this sword into another game? And so with this dynamic and on-chain metadata, you can have a standard that the sword has its own metadata by this standard. And so every game with their graphic infrastructure, they can render this object in two different ways, like in this example. So you have the same sword, but rendering the graphic of Skyrim, and you have the same sword, but rendered in the graphic of Zelda. And so you can have real interoperable object between different games. And I think this will be a huge part of the game in the next years to come. And not just in game, but also in various dApps.
I imagine a Skyrim sword becoming a spoon in Cookie Mama, for example.
Yeah,
that would be cool.
Yeah, also. And another important thing is this gonna batch them all. Because one of the limits about items v1 was that you can batch swap only in a collection items and not intra-different collections. And so you can batch all of the CryptoKitties collection, all of the Where Is My Dragon collection, all of the RC20 collection. But if you want to do a batch transfer between one Where Is My Dragon card, one ERC20, and one CryptoKitties, you were not able to. And with items v2, we virtualize collection. And so now it's possible to do batch swap between, with wrapped items between all of the existing objects on top of Ethereum into one single transaction. And I don't know, this is kind of like one of the coolest things ever because you can build every kind of application using this feature. And the capability of 155 are crazy. And we really hope with items to push the DeFi, the NFT space, and the Ethereum ecosystem in general forward to use these standards for a better, for not just new functions or new DeFi apps which were impossible before, but also to improve the user experience on Ethereum with a lot of things that can really be helpful for people to spend less gas, to do things faster, and also to remove this horrible approve every time you use an ERC20, which is basically a thing that all of the people hate into Ethereum. But let's talk about organization 0.5, because item is huge, but the organization's infrastructure we are building is the core of the future of building on top of Ethereum, in our own perspective. We talked a lot into another development update about the granular governance, how granular governance is so important, and it's so the next big thing on Ethereum. And you can go in this channel and looking into it. And when we started working on the organization 0.5, we basically started thinking about this kind of granular governance, which basically in two levels. So the DFO level, which is now it's called root level, and the sub-DAO level, so the governance level. And so to build, this is very important to build kind of like a two-way governance in which people can vote securely into fixed things, and the coders can deploy these fixed sub-DAOs for people to vote, and to reduce step by step their permission and powers into the protocol and into the money that comes around to the protocol. And this was basically the architecture, okay, to solve this problem. So it should be democratic or not, it should be secure, it should be efficient. But this is not flexible enough.
Absolutely.
And also, another important things that we didn't talk a lot about this is the factories of factories. Because this is so important in our stack. Because with organization 0.5, which basically we are branding to EthOS, so it's EthOS, okay? Because all of the things are together right now, and there is no more different things which are application of one big protocol to rule them all. Factories are very important, and it will be a real game changer into Ethereum coding, because everyone can create factories that other organization can use. And so this will create a huge basic layer of security on top of Ethereum, because you can just clone a factory, you can just clone and extend a factory and use for your own purpose. And so most of the code that all coders are building a lot of times, I mean, same code, will be just into factories with extendable factories. And this is so huge from a coder's perspective, basically. And so people will be able to create, I don't know, multi-yield factories, arbitrage factories, or exotic governance role for organizations as factories. Different app integration. They can have different version, and you will be able to use the version you prefer for the organization and for every DApp existing. And so when you will build an organization set up, you have a lot of clonable code, which clonable code is very important, that people underestimate these things. Because when someone say, oh, okay, we have the ERC20 standard, and we have the Open Zeppelin contract, and you just copy and paste and deploy it. Okay, that's cool. But these actually don't secure you from a coder that take this standard and that I don't know, that put a hole into it to hack this, or they just, without want to hack, they just change things, and maybe they create a bug because they're not expert enough, for example. And factories cloning is very important, because when you clone from a factory, you're not taking the contract and deploy. You are cloning something that you can't change, because you actually can only change some fixed rules and extend it if you want. And so users are secure that all of the applications that are built on top of a factory, they have the same security standards. It is not like an anon coder who deployed a contract from the start to the end. And so that's the future of coding on Ethereum. And with EthOS, you will have the best platform with the factories of the factories to deploy and to build these factories and to use factories from others, and also build businesses on top of factories based on fees and all of these things. And also to share the validation of the security of a factory by how much organization are using these factories and different things that will be done in the future. But we figured out that this is not enough. Because the question is what we can improve to make EthOS the most powerful general purpose platform to host, build code, and govern protocols. That's the question we had in mind. So imagine, for example, some challenges that a decentralized application have in the future to make this protocol better that we designed in the beginning. And so we working onto a new layer on the protocol, which is called the granular permission. So this is an example for a use case of granular permission. So you have the root layer, and you can build different layers between managing the permissions architecture of sub-DAOs. And so you can have, for example, the root layer of your DApp that is just there to managing the developing of new things. And you don't have any permission for the other things, like the update layer. So to update sub-DAOs or to update part of the code, you can use, for example, the other kind of permissions. And we designed 3 basic permissions which are totally extendable, which is host only. So you can roll this feature as a wallet or a multi-sig wallet or a tons of wallet. So for the internal, for example, things like GitHub, like a GitHub repo, because yeah, organization 0.5 are an extendable permission of a GitHub repo. And that's why it's cool. And you can also manage the permission architecture as host plus holders. So you can say, okay, for this kind of functions update, which can, I don't know, create problems into the things, we have this split, for example, governance between hosts that have to say, okay, this upgrade is good, and also holders. And some part with holders only. And so you can create, for example, this is just an example of application. An application, we have the root layer, which is just for coding new things and to manage the repo, basically, with your team and with external team too. The update layer, which is maybe host plus holder. And so the host or the holder, they can push a survey for an update, but you need both that agree that this update is cool. And you can have a governance layer, which is basically holders only. And so the host is meaningless. And this is runs and the host can change things. And this is pretty cool for status changes, to change the fees of the protocol, for example, to change the annual inflation percentage, to manage investment funds, and all of these things. And why this structure is so important? Because we want to make this protocol not just yet another DAO protocol. That already the 0.3 was not yet another DAO protocol because it was totally a different thing. But to make this the basic layer for coding or for building on top of Ethereum. Because with this new permission granular architecture, we open all of the case of use for things that in the future will be very important. Like, okay, rule on chain and organization. Yeah, that's cool. And you can also, with this permission granular governance, you can start building the application, and you can start making sub-DAOs to outsource to a token, for example, and to a token holder, most of the changes in money management. And also, with this structure for holders or for people, it's very easy to see how this organization is really decentralized and is really secure enough, even if you don't know the team. Because remember that this was our, and is always right now, our main purpose as a basic layer. And you can actually verify very easily. And this is so important into the Ethereum ecosystem because most of the organizations and DAOs, they maybe have, I don't know, structure that is very difficult to verify what is the real permission of the host or not, if there is no host permissions. And so I think that's so important if you hold a token to know exactly what is happening there. And also to rule legal organizations, which is another huge part of the future of on-chain organizations. Because when you have another organization, you have to be sure that this is decentralized enough. But when you add this other security layer, which is called legal, and so you as a holder, you don't have only the maths that makes you secure about what you're holding, but also some countries' regulation that help you to be more secure on this. But some people like this, some people don't like this, but this is a general purpose protocol. And so you can rule legal organizations in this, adding to every single sub-DAO level the rules you need. So for example, even if I know that some of you don't like it, but for example, you can do like what the USDC do. So you can say some part of the protocol, because I'm a legal organization, I need to kind of like, I don't know, freeze some accounts or do these things. I personally don't like these things. But this base layer is actually ready to host these things too. And also, there is tons of things about solving the legal problem for all of the dApps into the space. But this is a thing for the future. I don't want to say nothing about this.
Let's say that this was, I think, the last missing ring on the Web3, which is one of the pillars of the Web2, which are the responsibilities of changing something and the permission tables, okay? And we just brought that kind of mindset also in the decentralized world with anonymity capabilities, and it can empower all these decentralized application and of course on-chain organizations.
Yeah.
So really proud of this.
Yeah, I'm too. I think we don't know actually where Ethereum will go in the future. And so building a base layer for hosting everything and to be easily for people to watch what is happening It's kind of like our job. So, and governance features for games. So imagine you are games, okay, and you want to build something that have, I don't know, to extend your game to governance things, and so you want to say, okay, if this happened ruled by a smart contract, people can vote on this or not. Yeah, you can do this too. Advanced multi-signature. Because when you deploy an organization, you can just deploy an organization without even a token, just with a host. And so you can build kind of like just for you or for a legal company or for anything, an advanced multi-signature where you have different level of permissions, or your own bank, literally, because you can say, okay, I don't know, I want to use with just my phone the root layer to send a little bit of tokens or Ethereum. And I put into a sub-DAOs most of my Ethereum with some limits. And that maybe to, I don't know, to send this Ethereum, I need to have more devices that firm for me as a token holder or as a multisig. And so this is another huge use case. Just an on-chain GitHub. As I said before, you can just create organization and start building without even have a token or the things. And also build and manage factories, because you can build factories and organizations and basically earn from this, and building basically an entire kind of like project and company around building factories for every organization. So that's pretty cool too. So at the end of the day, we have all of the things you can do on Ethereum, and this will be very, very cool. And last but not least, delegations, which are an incredible feature about organizations 0.5, because you have delegations that anyone can create their own delegation. Anyone can attach their delegation to different organizations, because delegations are multi-organizations. They are not connected to just one organization. And they can reach funding or anything from that, and people can vote how to use this funding from their delegation. And also it's so important into governance things for the future, because their delegations will be like the voice of people that fight with the voice of big corps into the future of governance things, like political parties, basically. And so at the end of the day, in the blockchain space, usually, project overpromise and underdeliver, and they are always late. We at least underpromise and overdeliver usually. And so right now, I'm happy and proud to share to you the release date of EthOS, which is the first half of October, which include items v2, organization 0.5, and the whole new interface for EthOS, for the whole platform and the whole protocol. And we call these days the Ethereum's Day, so the E-Day, because from this moment, everything will change. For our project, from how we develop things, and from the perspective of other people. Because another interesting thing is basically the new interface. With the launch of EthOS, you will no more have covenants, items, and all of these things. You have the EthOS interface, which connect every pieces of the whole stack of EthOS. And this will be huge, because it's in this place you can basically do in the future, everything that you can do on top of Ethereum. And it's realistically work like an operating system for Ethereum. And we will explore these things and also the EthOS governance very deeply into the next development update. This will be very right before the launch of EthOS. And some people can say, oh, you said Q3, this is a delay. But actually is not. Because we shared some months ago this roadmap, this short-term roadmap. It was our internal roadmap, basically. And once we released this Ethereum SOS thing, the E-Day, we reach this. Done, 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 done. We built items v2 and EthOS at the same time. And for our internal roadmap, we earned 3 months. So we are 3 months earlier than what we expected. And so people can say, okay, you should release this in Q3. Yeah, only the 0.5 without items 2 and without all of this evolution of the 0.5 organizations. And so at the end of the day, we basically delay it a little bit if you look only into the 0.5, but if you look into the whole EthOS project, we are earlier than expected. But not earlier than expected with just what we started building, but with a very more sophisticated and cooler version of what was the organization 0.5 idea from the beginning. And also, yeah, let's talk about the switch to OS. Are you ready?
Uh-huh.
OS is here. And you can switch your Beetle, Unify, Arde to OS at this block. And also, there is some cool things for all these switchers. Because we basically burned all of the Beetle, Arte, and Unify tokens from the Nerve wallet. And we found a bunch of Beetle, Unify, and Arte that are lost forever into contracts. Like, I don't know, some people send Unify to the Unify contract, and so nobody can retrieve them. And so during this calculation, plus all of the token we burned, no one will ever be able to switch 20K of OS. And so what we can do with this 20K of OS, and so we said, okay, we added this 20K of OS to an early adapter 4-month farming contracts on covenants. And basically in this contract, based on the initial inflation of OS, it's 3 times bigger in reward tokens than the regular contracts that which will inflate OS from the E-Day. And so you have these big farming contracts before the launch. And without inflating OS, because these 20K OS put into this farming contract are part of the 1 million initial supply because of our burn. And so you can farm OS without inflate OS. And this contract we run simultaneously after the E-Day because it's not inflating the OS, basically. And it's here since the same block of the OS switch block. And so that's it for the development update. And happy switch, OS is here.
Yeah.
So let's see if there are some questions here before to open Discord.
Mm-hmm.
The price is not being determined, so the price is about people that switch, that arbitrating the system. So there's not kind of like a predetermined price of OS basically. Yeah, obviously, because you can say, for example, that if people have a DAO and this DAO is not by executing things, but is for asking coders to do things, this is another regulated security, because from your power of voting into the protocol and the actual done of the protocol, you are not secure. It's not on chain, and so I don't know. And yeah, there is a lot of legal concern about for people that build things in crypto in general. And one of the things we want to explore after 0.5 is to basically do all of the legal standards for who wants, like what's happening in the Web2 entrepreneurship field, in the startup field, regular. Because if you open a startup, for example, like everyone do in the Silicon Valley, you open in Delaware, and you have all of the standardized contract, and you are secure, and you just build your product and push it forward. And so I think it would be so important in the future to have the same things for builders into Ethereum, and we will absolutely searching to how to help all of the builders into the space to have the standardized legal things into their organizations and so on. That's not a good question, because yeah, optimism here, it's so cool. I try to use it on use Wobby3, and in the future we will obviously do something on optimism, more about DeFi things. But yeah, optimism is from my personal perspective, and I don't know if Vaza wants to share something, is basically the layer 2 that everybody will use.
Not actually. I'm just studying it also. So maybe it has some. It can. Yeah, maybe some development will be done for test purposes at start. But what we are going to do officially into the layer 2, actually we don't know. So we are just experimenting.
And yeah, we are actually talking about US regulations, because all over the world they are not regulating clearly. And so yeah, obviously, because there are kind of like things that are actually looking into regulations, like, for example, there are some dApps right now that are trying to do these things, but not for people who want to alleged business, but more for people who want to just don't pay taxes with their money or the thing. So I'd say the next big thing is to host the startup of the future rather than the tax evaders of the future. Oh yeah, obviously, Covenant, Unify, Bidl, Arte will stay open, and they are open and permissionless, and so people can also don't switch to OS if they want. So if they don't want to be part of the OS protocol and the OS journey, they can just don't switch. Yeah, that's a classic question. At this phase, obviously, yeah, we have some conversation, but in this specific phase, we are actually focused on building the perfect product to host every project on Ethereum for the long term. And I can't say if there is a plan for this, but it will be a part of the next step, basically. They should, actually, they should, countries become a DFO because they can be more clean for their users, basically, using the blockchain rather than, and they can also simplify taxes for people using this technology, and also how to manage taxes literally without steal money from taxpayers. So. But
also, I don't know if people of an entire country can be put inside the block because of the block limits, but it's just my opinion.
Maybe in the future we will live into blocks.
Maybe, I don't know.
Can be the next Elon Musk
We can
thing.
tokenize them.
Yeah, to tokenize people into Ethereum blocks.
Definitely.
How was the name of the Elon Musk startups about upload thinking into input for computers? It was yeah.
Don't remember.
Yeah, I don't remember too. No, it was not Starlink.
No, wasn't Starlink. Starlink was from the internet.
My dad.
Satellite internet.
So okay, let's go to the MAA and let's share the screen. Okay, share screen, window, Discord. Okay, and here we go. Let's start looking into Discord questions. So first question, Toby asked at Telegram. 1, the release of OS is in a couple of weeks, hopefully is tomorrow, the switch. Since the release is crazy big and OS is ready to use, what are the plans after the launch? Launching the EthOS platform, basically, which Items V2 is already there, but we want to launch everything together because we have this new interface, these new things. And so, but yeah, plans are to launch this. Yeah, Neuralink. So imagine the Neuralink to tokenize brain of people into Ethereum.
Ah, you were meaning that
link.
in that sense. Okay.
The Ethereum link. The chain link, no, just joking. And are you gonna full send it to every developer into the crypto space? Yeah. With this release, we are ready for the adoption stage, as we always said. So we want to share to every coders on top of Ethereum, and the documentation will be very well written. That was not in the 0.3, for example, and so it will be very easy to build on top. And we also have in plan to building different tools like multiverse to test things, and also different tools for coding to make organizations the most easier and secure place for coders to code, because there is a huge issue in the Ethereum ecosystem about tools for coding, and this is why the security of Ethereum sucks, because tools sucks, especially in testing.
Keep in mind that we are building on our own tools to develop things. So we have before build all the stuff and then use that stuff to build organizations, items, and whatever. So double work.
Are there right now already some project waiting for the OS launch? I already replied to this question. I want to ask this question, by the way. It will be easy for newer developer to get into it. I'm a pretty good full stack dev, but still struggle with smart contract and so on. Yeah, that's exactly what building on top of factories will be. So the problem of Ethereum is that if you're not experienced on Solidity, you can just help people to lose their money, basically. Because there are tons of things that you don't even know that can be a problem, because the difference between the building on the Web 2 and building on the Web 3 is that in the Web 3, everything is interconnected. So for example, if you're building Google, if Facebook has a bug, it's not a problem for you. But on Ethereum, if you build a smart contract without understanding that there are flash loans, that there are all of the things which are from external application, not from yours, you can help your people to get exploited. So I think the factory things will be very helpful. The testing framework will be the most helpful things, because finally people can test into the Ethereum mainnet together. And also the other tools for coding will be very huge things to see. So the third question is, did you guys have any interesting talks with some big name in the ETH space about the ecosystem you are building, being and the list year AdCon, and made you get some helpful contacts? At the moment, I prefer to don't reply in these kind of things, because we are basically busy in building. So, Vaza,
Yep.
Vaza, yeah.
I'm here. I was just reading the questions.
What's the emoji we can give to this guy? Because he has a lot of questions.
Let's open the panel.
Yeah, here.
Yeah, the fourth one, the man who's crushing his head on the keyboard.
You're very philosophic.
Exactly.
Oh, what's been the most difficult aspect of recent development for the project? Has any attention been paid from US security law when designing the structure of the organization templates? Will OS launch be announced ahead of time, or will it be a surprise drop? I think yeah, we have a lot of attention about US security laws, because we want to help every organizations in the future to be legit for legal things too. Because one things we want to solve at the same time, and we will solve into the next update, is that builders on top of Ethereum should be secure that they are legal, because it sucks with this legal uncertainty. The legal framework is here, so why don't just build standards for people? And so, yeah. The most difficult aspect of the recent development of the project.
Yeah, I think that there is a kind of problem every time different, but with the same meaning, which is the throughput between the code architecture and the save of space to save gas in transactions. For example, actually, the last challenge we are facing is not how to build things, but how to save gas to let everybody make some cheap transactions. And yeah, it's how to preserve all the architecture, all the behavior saving having the less number of transactions as possible, which is also a kind of response I want to give to Night King, asking how to develop on smart contracts. It's not about how to use Solidity, but how the AVM works. For example, in a Web2 environment, okay, you can instantiate many items of the same software, okay, without worrying about memory or space. In the Ethereum world is totally different, because you have to save every single bit of gas just to be able to deploy the smart contracts, which have a fixed maximum length, and of course to let your users save the more gas as possible. And that is the worst challenge we are facing in every project, in the EthOS, V3, the Covenants items, V1, V2, and whatever. And I think that this is a problem that every kind of Solidity developer must face before just to try to do something.
Yeah, that's real. I mean, also the balance between security and gas convenient contracts. So, for example,
exactly.
Because one of the challenges that nobody understands is about also, I think, maths, because you can build contract with complex maths, but the challenge is to build contracts with simple maths. And so that's what changed security, and it's pretty difficult for most of the people. In the case of a new developer, like the guy who wrote before, I mean, Web3 is about create trustless environments. So the right balance between I can have emergency strategies, but I can't touch people's money. And so this huge architectural, for example, things that people should be very working hard to solve. Most of the things they are building an architecture before start coding. So, and I think this time is my turn, and I give to this guy a Mario. A Mario. Senpai, can you bring Pino to life in an interactive way to showcase the power of Item V2? We did some infographics, and I think, yeah, into the EthOS interfaces, you will see a lot of things, but yeah.
We are also preparing some demo and some test dynamic metadata use cases for the documentation, so you can practice and build your own dynamic metadata. And I hope to tell you the real story about Pino, because there are some there are some things I couldn't say now, but I hope to see you personally and tell you the real Pino story.
I actually don't know the Pino story.
Yeah, it's a secret between me and Pino. New meme lines coming.
So it's your turn.
Do we have a Pino image? No. So Onizuka. Senpai. So let's
Sorry, I read the YouTube comments.
Can't wait to
Pino reveal
reveal
confirmed soon.
soon.
So, are there any big projects working on delegation that are not posting on Discord? If they're not posting on Discord, I don't know. That can be a good answer.
Fair.
Yeah, that's my turn, and I put. So please, if you want to open a delegation, post it on Discord because we can just help you adding your category into the server, and you can reach your supporters. So don't be shy if you want to open a EthOS delegation. So
if you open a Pino delegation, just do it.
And I think Alama.
Okay.
This case. So next question. Do you draw inspirations from Steve Jobs or other visionaries? His vision for Apple was a company that turned a powerful technology into tools that were easy to use. From my personal perspective, I look at, since when I was young, very deep into every smart guy into the entrepreneurship scenario. And so from Steve Jobs to Elon Musk to Peter Thiel to Vitalik Buterin and to most of the people. And I think when there are people like this, they are an inspiration for everyone. So yeah, obviously we have inspirations from these smart people. And what do you want to say, Vaza?
I don't like to.
Peter Jackson.
Yeah. What?
Peter Jackson.
Peter Jackson. King Kong. Yes. Yeah. I don't. I try to not get inspired about by somebody who did something huge, but just to try to reveal a pattern linking. Every kind, all this kind of people like Steve Jobs, Elon Musk, Bill Gates, and whatever. But I try to do something by my own. And if I got inspired by someone, I was, of course, my professor during the last period in my software engineering course, which learned to me the meta modeling world, which is the most important thing I've learned in my life, and because it has a huge potential, and I always try to use meta modeling everywhere, every time when I program, when I'm developing both in Web 2, Web 3, and whatever. I hope to bring more about meta modeling also in EthOS in the future, and I'm working on it right now.
His professor called
was
Lego.
Elon Lego. Yeah.
Was Elon Musk.
Exactly. No. Even if I respect a lot Elon Musk because he was the very first developer that introduced playing videos inside the video game environment. Before Elon Musk in 1995, you cannot reproduce videos, animations, okay, inside the textures of a video game. Elon Musk created that technology to let video can be played inside the video games in, for example, TVs inside a video game, inside in a room, or screens and whatever. And that is really a cool thing. Go, Elon. Inspirational Vaza.
Yeah, Vaza, you are better than Elon, Steve Jobs, and all of this.
Oh,
boring guy.
I don't think so. My turn to choose the.
Yeah, that's your turn. So.
Okay.
But not inspirational as Hideo Kojima.
Absolutely. So for this reason,
I have
let's put
respect
his
for
name
Hideo Kojima.
Hideo Kojima, which also I call him Hideo Kojima, and Hideo in Italian means God. So to me, Hideo Kojima is a god, but he's another stuff. The third one, Snake, because you mentioned
Yeah,
Hideo.
okay. Can we do an EthOS lunch pizza party? I think, guys, during the lunch of EthOS, we will be here into Italy. And so if you want to, if you don't want to kill us like some people like Pete Baker or these things, and you want to join a party, you can come. I will be happy to see you in real world. So.
Or if you want, just order a pizza at the same time of the lunch.
Yeah, we can have a pizza call.
Exactly.
Don't share this video to the Pete Baker because he have more information about us.
Can you please highlight the walkabout comment on YouTube, because it's really cool. No, not this. The two comments above. Thanks, Elon. This one. Thanks, Elon. Thanks, Elon, for the Twitch stream inside CryptoVox. Yeah, kind of. Technology has been a lot evolved, but since then. But,
yeah, a lot.
Yeah. So maybe we can. Do we have a pizza icon? No.
No, but we have cannoli.
Okay. Same.
How do factories fees business model works? When you basically build a factory, you set up a business model into it, and so the EthOS protocol take a small fees decided by people into the sub-DAOs about this from this business model fee. No, for the second question, I don't know if. Oh, Discord. Oh, okay, yeah, it's open. Link. Okay. DFO, yeah, that's a burn fee. It's about tokens. It's not about dollars in tokens. And it will be because you never saw in the real world how cool serverless sub-DAOs are. Because you can change this fee very quickly. Because if you reach the amount of token into one of the possible selections to change a fee, you just execute it as a holder. So it's very easy to change the quantity of the fees based on the market and based on the different strategies. And so that will be very cool. My goal is to hit 10 cannolis before 0.5 October launch to save me my baseline. And so, what items tool are you referring to? Just give me a moment to open public treasury.
I think it would be great if you can put the screen.
Because he's referring about the web page. We talking about covenants, Biddle and Arthur when you refer to the business model, because basically EthOS earn from the business model of all of the three protocols. So just for that, there were into the factories fees into the early version of items, but we decided to make items totally free for the internet because item is the base layer for these things, so there's no fee from items. And because adding for example, a burn fee into wrapped items is just something that can create problems with different applications that you can build on top. And so it's more the problem you create than the possible earnings. And so the end things of item with fees is just that people don't use it. What about the marketplace? The marketplace for us is the factories that look like a marketplace. But I don't get what you means exactly. So if you can explain me better this question, just write on Discord or on YouTube. How confident are you in the capabilities and functionalities v0.5 will give to developer versus what you envision a full 1.0 launch having? In the middle. What's your thought, Vaza?
Yeah, the 0.5 architecture is articulated just because there are a lot of features we are adding. But what we are trying to do right now is to render all these capabilities using the same technology, the same smart contracts. Okay, so there is, for example, just 1, 2, 3, 4 models, one factory, one model factory, one sub DAOs factory, and one organization smart contracts. Okay, the most general purpose as possible and the most simple as possible. So you can reuse them, combining with other smart contracts, just customizing little parts of code like it's happening right now and whatever. So yeah, I think that the structure will remain pretty the same. I don't know if it will, if it is, if it doesn't remain the same, it's just because Solidity has reached a maturity and introduced new features that makes actual DFO hub structure obsolete, and we of course will migrate to better tools and better items in general. So I think that this will be the only reason to migrate to a new structure. But actually, I don't think that it will be possible in the early future, maybe 2 years, I don't know.
Yeah, I think we actually don't know these things right now because the 0.5, the difference from the 0.5 to the 0.3 is kind of like the difference from ETH1 to ETH2. And so most of the things reaching the next version will be built on top of the core we are deploying now. But yeah, imagine you have this general purpose layer, okay, and also you have to kind of like in the journey you have to deal with things that people are actually not yet knowledgeable about, that these things can be possible. Because right now we have this, in terms of organization, structure, and like this, we have this idea of having, for example, 1 or more token to vote. You have this idea to having power splitted by some governance rules. But actually, we can do more with Ethereum, like more quadratic voting things, or more even voting system based on not the token or different scenarios and things. So The 0.5 is just the basic layer to reach kind of like is the basic layer for what is the all of the way possible about governance and managing code, basically. But it's just a starting point. Okay, so walkabout reply to Max Flyer. Once OS launches, what's the team's first next step? After some rest and relaxation, of course.
What is rest? What rest means?
Yeah, I think is, from my perspective, is 3 years. I don't take a day off, so kind of like. I think the admin aggregator will be the next step, basically, in building. And something we are working on that we can't say yet, or we don't want to say yet. Yeah. So, oh, I forgot to give to Max Flyer the, oh, yeah, because Max Flyer wrote here. I recall you talking about a marketplace. Say, I guess, yeah, it was about factories. So let's turn back to give the Max Flyer the thing. So this is your turn.
My turn? The Minecraft block, the one rotating.
The diamond block for Max Flyer. Okay, this I think is my turn, and I put to him the Beetle Sour. Okay, this is a reply for Walkabout. Once OS launches, what's the team's first next step? Okay, we already replied to this. This is your turn.
Dojo with sunglasses because he's resting.
Yeah. Oh no, sorry. What's happening in my computer? Here. Yeah, I see some. I saw this this thread into the Discord. Yesterday, Vitaly Buterin posted an interesting article on decentralized governance in DGov, which I think is a great name. I read it, and I think I actually think that the direction he mentioned, like the old article, is kind of like the right direction, because people talk about governance on chain and all of these things, but they don't get the point. So basically, the point is to make governance on chain something that is more than just say, oh, the community and these things. So it's more complex, and it's for different use case, which is not just building a token, say, community driven, and wait for that the DAO will die. So can you confirm or deny that Vitalik is aware of or has ever heard of EthOS?
Hi.
So what's your, I don't know, it's my turn. I think, yeah, we can put Picoric.
Pico?
Yeah. Yeah, I read this question. Solana is getting a lot of attention currently. I'm not this looks like a shell for me. So Solana is going okay. If you want to know my personal perspective about Solana for now, do you remember EOS? What's your
Is a
thoughts,
question
Vaza?
for me?
Yeah,
I
about
don't personally. I don't
building
know
on top of
Solana.
Solana. It's
I don't.
it's another chain.
Okay, good. This with others. Don't know what to say because I don't know how to program on it. But I think that the adoption is the key factor of a blockchain. You can agree, yeah.
Oh, you put too much comments. I can. What about art? Had so much funding. Oh, guys, adoption is the key. Okay, so you are writing too much fast for me to. Can we agree DAOs right now are the most bad jokes? Yeah, I think also the DAOs are basically. And but by the way, so one more. Will be a way for non-whales to earn ETH dividends through staking of some kind. To me is not the spirit of decentralization to only incentivize whale to contribute to liquidity. Why not spread the reward incentive to a wider amount of holder? So, first of all, decentralization is not equal to distribution because they are two different things. And second things, before to say something like this, you should understand a thing. So if a big holder of OS start to farm Ethereum, he is not farming OS, and so he is not making his bags bigger in terms of OS, and someone else is making his bag bigger in terms of OS. So, and in other words, why is 10 people with 5 million stakers safe? And it's not about safely stake. Is that it's dividends. Then dividends works like this. So if you want to stake OS, you can stake OS with one OS, but this is dividends on Ethereum about the platform. So it's totally different thing. So so it's kind of like comparing two things that are totally different. So it's not about the farming of OS, it's dividends. And dividends make sense to be for big holder. Yeah. Reading this question. Yeah, you can farm with the EthOS, the dividends of the protocol. So you can farm Ethereum by adding liquidity into OS Ethereum. And so yeah, I think this formula of dividends is pretty cool, because if a big holder wants to stake their OS for reward in Ethereum, they are not accumulating new OS with this liquidity. And so you have big holder that can become small holder that can become big holders in time. And you can refresh continuously from people that thinks that OS is good for the long run, and for people who want their bag in Ethereum. And if you add the inflation to it, you have a complete recycle from big holder to small holder and so on and so forth. So it's totally the contrary. And so it's I don't see any bad in rewarding holders or this kind of things. Personally, I think it's totally I don't know, over the outside from the general understanding of how governance works, because it's not kind of like the Ethereum basic layer is about the governance of a protocol. It's not the security budget of a network. It's totally different things. And so because this kind of mindset works very cool if you are building kind of like Ethereum or your Solana thing, but not when you talk about organizations and protocol on top of Ethereum, because they don't need this distribution things to work. And so, but thank you for the question. Thank you for the question. So I will add Gendo Ikari. Can we have a little update around the Rapid USD? Unify holder were responsible upon Rapid USD. Whitelisting of stable pools, deciding blacklisting. Now we are merging. How Rapid USD is gonna be rolled. Rapid USD will be rolled by OS holders, basically. Vaza, are you okay? I think.
Sure, I'm here.
You look very concentrated.
Yeah, I just watch, just reading the questions.
So OS taken to earn at cannot participate in delegation stake, right? Yeah, with your OS, you can choose where you put your OS. So if you put your OS by farming Ethereum into dividends, you're farming Ethereum. If you put your OS into farming OS, you are actually farming OS. And if you put your OS to support a delegation, you are actually supporting a delegation. So you choose where to use your OS in different things. This is another classic question of, I think, every ask me anything from the beginning. There are people actually focused on marketing. I think the adoption stage starts and the release of EthOS, and you will not see kind of like the classic marketing about shilling things like dogs, but a cool, naturally and respectfully reaching of projects and developer and these things. So the reaction for the Rapid USD question, Vaza?
Let's put the coin.
Oh, we have to update the Rapid USD emoji because right now it's from USD from the old. So anyone can farm OS tokens with any amount. Okay, this is a reply for the question. Could we get a more detailed description of everyone on the team, how many people, roles, etc.? Anything being done to mitigate the resilience of Al and Vaza to keep the core project? I don't know why there is this meme that we are actually two, but we are not. We are basically the core researcher and the founders of this, but we are not alone. We have several people into the team. We are 15 and we have different roles right now. So we have the development team, we have the and the development team is actually called magicians in our internal things, and we have warlocks, which are the front-end developers teams, and we have masters like Mastodon, Dungeons and Dragons, which are the communication team, and we also have artists, which are the illustration and artist team. So we have all of these things. So we are not just two people, but yeah, thank you for the question. This is my turn. I put a SpongeBob to you. Yeah, I think we want to work hard to really have this brand for the long run based on illustrations and also different kind of contents in the future. So it's very important for us. Okay. So someone said to put CD as a reaction, and so we can add this CD reaction too. Is there anyone in the team who ended his work and now we can hire as a delegation? That's an interesting question. We are constantly recruiting new people every time. And because working on the EthOS protocol is very difficult because you need to have a really deep understanding of Ethereum and how Solidity works. So general coders can't work into our team. So yeah, there are tons of coders which are good, but they are not what we research, what we how can I say, the standards we need for this kind of work. So I can give you some contact if you need some developers. So
my turn.
Asa, it's your turn, bro.
Let's use the fire one. First route. Yes.
Okay.
Fire, higher. Okay.
Yeah, makes sense. So, will you release multiverse and your testing framework for everyone to use? After 0.5 will be there will be an update with this because we are using internally, but it's a part of the next updates for sure. So don't worry, you will see that, and you will see it a lot because there are huge plans from YouTubers.
Okay. CD.
So thank you for this question. I think that's my turn. And I put EthOS. Oh, there is a guy who is typing. Oh, he's not typing anymore. Oh, he is typing.
Again?
He's typing. He's typing. Massimiliano is typing.
No.
CD needs a promotion to DVD.
DVD.
And at the peak of his career, he will receive a promotion to Blu-ray.
No. The very top is cloud. Or Netflix, I don't know.
So, okay. So I think that's it. Just a thing here. So when you support the delegation, you receive back the wrapped OS or the token the delegation is attached, that you can use to vote into this delegation. And you can retrieve back your EthOS when you want. So guys, thank you to be here. And see you in the next dev update.
Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.